And you know what the explanation of that parable was? That the master knows that there's some bad seed. There's some bad seeds out there. Are we supposed to find them and pull them up? No. What about Peter and the 11? Were they supposed to stop Judas? Tackle him on the way out? No, Jesus didn't ask him to do that, did he? But he wanted him to know one thing. I know whose heart is not with me. And at this point, none of them could have pointed to Judas and said, oh, obviously talking about Judas. Judas was really looking good at this point to everybody else, but Jesus knew. There's an interesting passage in 2 Timothy chapter 2. When Paul said, God's solid foundation stands firm, sealed with this inscription, the Lord knows those who are His own. Do you know that God knows that there are people that aren't with Him? In churches? Religious organizations? Do you know that? Do you know that everybody else could be really surprised, but God's not? Do you know that? Okay. Gary, what's this got to do with hope? Well, where does your hope lie? Does your hope lie with Jesus, that He knows? Or that you're supposed to figure it out? Does your hope lie with a group that's going to really have it all together on this earth, called this church or called that church? Is that where your hope lies? No. It shouldn't. But sometimes it does. Sometimes we're so shook up when we find out somebody in our government, in our country, one nation under God, is doing the things they're doing, and we go, oh no. Yeah. Where does your hope lie? In an earthly kingdom? And what's going on here? In this religious group? In that religious group? John's readers, the people that John wrote to, had to know that God knew who amongst them really gave their heart to Jesus. Even though they might not have been able to figure it out. And maybe there were some religious leaders wanting to go in this direction or to misappropriate this or that. Or maybe there were some people misusing their power. Maybe they wanted to rebuild this system that Jesus destroyed for their own personal gain, for their own personal prestige. Jesus knows. Jesus knows who's with him. Jesus knows who's not. Now, do you find hope in that? I hope so. I hope your hope is not based on this religious group or any religious group. I hope your hope is based on Jesus, who had His eyes open, who knew while He was ministering to people who was with Him and who wasn't, and He still washed Judas's feet. I hope you know that you have the potential in you to betray Jesus. I hope you know that. I hope you know that you can be misdirected, that you can be misguided, that you can take your eyes off Jesus and start focusing on something else. You have that potential. I have this potential. Everyone in this room has this potential. And we come together to encourage each other to look at Jesus and keep our hope there. And if you want to hope, You want to hope that someday our nation will come to its senses and say, we're going to keep Jesus in Christmas, or we're going to keep Jesus in Walmart, or whatever they say. Okay? Whatever it is, if you think that they're going to come together as a whole and say, we're going to get it together and trust in Jesus, your hope is in the wrong place. If you're hoping your neighbor gets it, if you're hoping your boss gets it, if you're hoping your employees get it, your hope is in the wrong place. My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. Amen. We're going to celebrate what Jesus did with that blood. We're going to celebrate the sacrifice He made with that body. Our hope came to earth. And Jesus knows. Today, Jesus knows your heart. Jesus knows the heart of the person next to you, in front of you, behind you. He wants you to trust in Him, to keep your eyes fixed on Him. And you're the only person that can deal with that. You're the only person that can focus your own eyes. And you can't do that for the person in front of you or behind you or next to you. You can't do it. You can encourage them. You keep your hope fixed on Jesus. And as we go into the season where things get pretty strange out there in the world, who's looking at it as an economic indicator, or some people who think it's something that we have to do, or some people who want to judge other people on how they do or how they don't do it, things get really, really strange. Just keep your focus on Jesus. He knows their hearts. He knows your hearts. He washes your feet. He loves you dearly. Remember that.